Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the next episode of the Mike and Mike Show. I'm Mike. And
I'm Mike.
That's Mike.
Mike!
Today, we have decided to change things up a little bit. We've done a lot of wrestling videos, so now we're going to parlay into some other stuff. We're actually going to do today's video on 80s cartoons that we used to watch growing up as kids. Cartoons have changed so much over the years.
There is none.
There's more adult-oriented cartoons now than there are actual cartoons for kids, more, as you'd say, you know. So we're going to go over some of our favorite cartoons.
It's just they don't have cartoons anymore. If you get that Coco Melon, well, can you say your ABCs? Let me tell you, woo woo woo, and Caillou. Nah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! And, you know, that kind of thing. Pokemon.
All that crap on the Disney Channel, it ain't funny, so, you know.
Yeah, I mean, cartoons back when we were growing up, they weren't violent cartoons, but they had a lot more action to them than the cartoons now. I mean, you had a lot of superhero cartoons. You had shows like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. You had Thundar. You had all these action cartoons like He-Man and She-Ra.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man was an action cartoon.
Donkey Kong.
So many cartoons. And now they're all
crap.
They're all more younger age kids oriented. Like 6, 7, that kind of age. Whereas we were watching cartoons that were more for preteen, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of age difference. But they were some great cartoons. A lot of fun. There wasn't a Saturday morning that I'm pretty sure I could speak for him as well, that we weren't sitting in front of the TV Saturday mornings with a bowl of cereal watching cartoons. From the time we got up to from the time it started, probably like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning up until 1, 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday. Cartoons.
Yeah.
It was great. And you know, you couldn't watch all your favorite cartoons on one channel either. You had to channel surf. You know, and sometimes some of my favorite cartoons were on 2 separate channels at the same time.
Yep.
So during the commercial breaks, I'd be flipping between the channels to watch what I could of each show.
I had to get up and turn the channel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So the first show I want to talk about, which, you know, this is not in any kind of chronological order or anything like that. So the first show I want to talk about was one of my favorites from the late 70s going into the 80s. It was Captain Caveman.
Captain Caveman!
There you go. It was Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels, and it was kind of like Scooby-Doo, only with a caveman who had superpowers.
Yeah.
You know, solving mysteries. Yeah, he had a cake.
Unga Bunga.
Unga Bung. Yeah, he was great. And that show, it started in 1977.
I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
I was 2 years old.
And it ran from 77 to 1980. Not too long. But, I mean, you know, you could watch reruns and it just, you laugh every single time you watch it.
Yeah.
You never get tired of the reruns. Never.
Unga Bunga.
You know, and there was a lot of cartoons back then that were kind of like Scooby-Doo based. You know, kind of like riding the coattails of Scooby-Doo.
Or the Flintstones.
I mean, you know, you had Captain Caveman. Then you had Clue Club, which was another cartoon that was kind of a spinoff of, well, not a spinoff, but a riding the coattails of Scooby-Doo, because that one had a bunch of kids that were solving mysteries with 2 dogs, Wolfa and Wimpa, and they would talk to each other.
I don't remember.
Yeah, he don't remember that one, but my kids remember it because I've had them watch it a couple of times. But anyways, it's a great cartoon. I mean, you had Jabberjaws, which is like the same thing as Scooby-Doo. Speed Buggy.
Josie and the Pussycats.
Josie and the Pussycats. Charlie Chan and the Chan clans,
Snagglepuss.
Snagglepuss. All these cartoons, but they were all based on the same idea of Hanna-Barbera cartoons, solving mysteries with teenagers.
Snagglepuss.
Snagglepuss. I remember Snagglepuss. Okay, so then we go. Speed Buggy was another one that was kind of a spinoff or a rehash of Scooby Doo, but it was with a car. Yeah, that was pretty cool too. And then you had more like superhero kind of fantasy based heroes like Thundar the Barbarian and He-Man. He-Man was basically popped out there because of the toy line.
That was my jam.
Yeah, that was a great cartoon. There was no denying that. It was basically thrown out because of the toy line. They wanted to promote the toy line, so they threw out this He-Man character, and it really hit. I mean, it smashed off.
Mm-hmm.
It took off like a rocket, and it was a great cartoon. I think it was first come out as a Filmation cartoon.
It was,
and I mean, it was. Filmation wasn't known for the best cartoons on the planet, because I mean, look, they Extreme Ghostbusters. No.
I got the first series of the first He-Man.
I mean, the Filmation version of Ghostbusters had a gorilla. And
That's not Ghostbusters.
But it was Ghostbusters, yeah. So, it wasn't that great. But He-Man was a great cartoon, and it ran for several years. At least 3 or 4 years.
And now it gets parodied a lot.
Yeah, it gets parodied a lot. I mean, it stood the test of time.
Uh-huh.
Even though it had that movie with Dolph Lundgren as He-Man, but it was a bad movie, but it did nothing to really damage the history of the He-Man character from the cartoon.
And now it's like they keep coming out with it and keep coming out with it.
Yeah, they've had like 2 different versions.
And better. And I think they're going to have a movie for it not too long.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's rumors.
It's called classic.
There's rumors all over, the internet about a Masters of the Universe movie that's coming out.
It'll be Dwayne Johnson.
Probably Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Anyway, so then you had the He-Man cartoon, and then they thought, well, we're making all these toys and putting out all this product for boys. Why don't we try to segue off into the female kids as well? And they brought out He-Man's sister, She-Ra.
She-Ra.
And She-Ra didn't run as long as He-Man did. It didn't really take off that well. But they did sell a few She-Ra toys, here and there, but it just didn't take off the way He-Man did.
Well, they had a Christmas special. I remember.
Yeah, the He-Man She-Ra Christmas special. They even had a movie that was like about an hour and a half long, explaining He-Man finding She-Ra and the story behind all that to kind of segue into the She-Ra cartoon. And the movie was awesome. The movie was good.
And for the local people here, that's around our age, He-Man wasn't on channels around here. Not a lot. It wasn't, well, whenever I was younger, I didn't have basic cable. I didn't have cable.
Yeah.
So, on Channel 3, Mr. Cartoon would come on.
Yeah.
And what was that big old goofy thing's name? Berkeley or Barkley? It was Barkley.
Barkley, I think what it was. Yeah.
And he was, hey, cartooners.
Yeah.
And like the first hour, he would show like Popeye cartoons, Woody Woodpecker cartoons, Bugs Bunny, whatever.
These little 3 to 5 minute cartoons.
Next hour would be like 30 minutes to be He-Man and 30 minutes to be She-Ra.
Yeah.
And they would keep it in order.
Yeah.
I was like 10 years old going,
yeah.
He-Man, no!
Mr. Cartoon was great. Mr. Cartoon was awesome. And then I think they got to where they showed it in the afternoons during the week.
They did.
Or something like that, and showed reruns of the show. But I mean, it was great. That Mr. Cartoon was awesome back then.
Because back then, I mean, some people had cable, some of us didn't.
Right.
But my family, we didn't get cable until late. And then they got me the Disney Channel where I could watch Disney movies. The
Yeah.
old Disney cartoons.
Like Robin Hood.
Well, I mean, like Donald Duck, Mickey
Yeah,
Mouse,
Donald
Goofy,
Duck, Mickey
and
Mouse,
all that stuff.
Goofy.
It was good stuff back then.
Yeah.
Not like it is now. No.
So then after you go through all that, then we get into the real like superhero stuff. Spider-Man and his amazing friends.
The Hulk.
The Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, Transformers. There was GoBots. There was an Autobots cartoon. I mean, there was all kinds of like superhero-based cartoons. Brave Star, Jace and the Wheeled Warriors, which I never really liked that cartoon. Then there was Battle of the Planets. Battle of the Planets could have been a like precursor to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers or some show, like that. Because it was a Japanese based cartoon.
There we go.
Yeah.
Speed Racer was.
Speed Racer, yeah. Speed Racer is another Japanese based cartoon. But I mean, it was an action cartoon nonetheless. But you had like going back talking about the mystery cartoons. You had the Shmoo, the Adventures of Shmoo. That was a little cartoon. You had Star Wars cartoons like C-3PO.
The droids.
The droids
Ewoks.
cartoon. Yeah, the Ewoks cartoons. I mean, that was a lot of stuff. There was a Justice League cartoon back then, but it wasn't called Justice League. It was Super Friends.
Yeah.
There was a Super Friends. Then there was the Adventures of the Super Friends.
And the Legion of
the
Doom.
Legion of Doom. I mean, it was great stuff back then, and now it's just like everything is more educational. Which there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's not what I'm saying. It's back in the day you had cartoons that played towards the imagination more, I think.
Yeah.
And now they're all
kids don't have imagination.
They're all based on education, on learning. They're not based on learning can be fun, but back then it was based on more of, the dreams and for imagination than
you
it
learned
is
at
now.
school,
Yeah.
and then weekends
You had fun.
You had one to grow on.
Yeah, one to grow on. Yeah,
and the more you know.
The more you know. Those
the
were like
afternoon
little
school specials.
Yeah, those were like little segments, and of course, after school specials was like hour-long specials or hour and a half.
That's why I was always in trouble because I didn't watch the afternoon school specials and stuff like that.
To try to teach you how to be a decent child, a decent human
I was
being.
outside smoking a cigarette.
Oh,
Cartoons were going
bad, shame. Of course, I was right there with you most of the time. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
It's not like I was snorting meth or anything.
No. Then you had other cartoons that played more towards, just fun. Speaking of pushing the imagination barrier, the Muppet Babies cartoon.
I loved it.
That was all about the Muppets characters as babies and using their imagination to have all these different adventures. That cartoon pushed imagination to all new levels. And I mean, it was probably one of the longest running cartoons
ever
back in the day because I mean, it ran for like 8 seasons. 8 seasons.
Yeah, I loved that cartoon when I was growing
up.
up.
Muppets were so popular back then, so popular, and it was no wonder the cartoon did so well for so many years.
Yeah.
I mean, they did like imagination. They did episodes about Star Wars and traveling through time.
Indiana Jones.
I mean, this cartoon was great. It was great.
Ghostbusters and Ghosts.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, they did so much stuff with.
I love the intro. The intro was great
with the Muppets back then. And they had their own variety show, and then they had the cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And then you had Smurfs. You had the Snorks. Smurfs. La la la. All those Smurfs and only one female Smurf.
Poor thing. I feel bad for her.
I'm not saying nothing bad, but how do you get all those Smurfs if you have just one female Smurf?
If you remember it right, Gargamel made her.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did.
He made her.
So they were all male. They were all male race until Gargamel made.
See now. We look at it now, and back in we're like, huh? Is that Smurf? And now we're like. But, So there was always hidden messages in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, we were
young.
We were kids.
And now we see it, and we're like, "Oh God, my life is over." Shit.
But there, like I said, there was Smurfs, there was Snorks, there was Muppet Babies, Gummy Bears. Gummy Bears was an awesome cartoon. It was like Goldilocks and the Three Bears almost without Goldilocks. You don't need Goldilocks for that. You just give a bunch of give a bear family a bunch of what was it? It was gummy bear juice. You gave them gummy bear juice, they turned into Mexican jumping beans. They bounce all over the place. It was an awesome cartoon. A lot of fun, too. A lot of fun. So, cartoons back then, you had a lot more imagination with them. You had a lot more fun with them, I think. And nowadays, it's all like you either watch adult cartoons like Family Guy, American Dad. Those cartoons aren't, made for kids, but yet there are parents out there that let their kids watch it and then wonder why. They learn how to cuss. They're disrespectful. They're out of control, and then they wonder why.
Yeah.
But I'm not giving not giving no lessons on family therapy or anything like that. That's not what that's not what I'm going to. But those cartoons just aren't cartoons to me. They're not. And, then you got the ones now where, like I said earlier, they're just educational and that's all well, fine and good, but where is the cartoons from back in the day that broaden imagination, that build imagination?
They're gone.
They're gone. They're gone. Even Reading Rainbow. It wasn't a cartoon, but it helped broaden one's mind through imagination.
Yeah.
And it's gone. It's gone. It's kind of sad.
An electric company.
Electric company with the little Spider-Man segments in there.
1, 2, 3 contact.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Stuff like that is awesome.
12.
12. And there's so many freaking cartoons we could talk about. I mean, we could spend the whole day talking about these things. X-Men Evolution was another cartoon, but that was in the 90s, not the 80s. But I mean, there was just so many cartoons. Pole Position.
Yeah.
There was Batman and Robin cartoons back in the 80s, of course. Superman cartoons back in the 80s. Like you said earlier, Heckle and Jekyll.
Heckle and Jekyll.
Chip and Dale.
Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse cartoons.
I remember getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning watching Heckle and Jekyll and Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, the Heckle and Jekyll Mighty Mouse. It was like an hour. Mm-hmm. They would combine the shows to make an hour.
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry cartoons. Tom and Jerry cartoons got a bum rap. They got to where they don't even show the old Tom and Jerry cartoons because they're not politically correct. They're too violent.
Yeah.
They're too violent, but yet you have shows like American Dad and Family Guy on TV, and kids watch that.
Well, it's like Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner and all that.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner, Pepe Le Pew.
We were smart enough not to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't see me going out strapping somebody with a daggone rocket and then lighting it and going. We wasn't ignorant.
No, we weren't.
We didn't hit nobody in the head with a mallet.
No.
Or with
we knew it would hurt.
Frying pan.
We knew it would hurt.
Or chop off a cat's tail. In the cartoons, Tom and Jerry, and they'd be all running around, and then Jerry would get in behind, smack his tail, and his tail would come off, and
yeah. It's just funny stuff. But now
Droopy.
You don't get it. Droopy oh my gosh, Droopy cartoons.
Hello, Joe.
He's like, I'm so happy. And that one, the wolf. I forgot what his name was. Yeah.
I tell you, man.
He was kind of like a foghorn leghorn knockoff. But he was a wolf. He was funny.
Break it up, man. Break it up,
man. Nothing to see here. But there was just so many cartoons back then, and it's lost now.
Hogwash.
It's all hogwash now. I mean, you don't have that. Johnny Quest. Johnny Quest was another great cartoon. I love Johnny Quest. No, Johnny Quest was earlier than that.
Oh, that's right. I'm talking.
Yeah, I'm talking about the original Johnny.
I'm thinking about Johnny Bravo, Mama.
Johnny Bravo.
I was thinking
Was
of Johnny
now
Bravo.
Johnny Bravo is not a terrible cartoon. I like Johnny Bravo, but anyways, yeah, you had like Johnny Quest. That was a great cartoon back then. You know, and it's a shame, you know, that we look back on it and we're sitting here thinking, you know, there's no cartoons now, none. And Boomerang used to be an incredible cartoon channel because they used to show all those old cartoons.
Those old cartoons.
You know, and I introduced my kids to a lot of those cartoons as they were growing up because Boomerang aired them on TV. Now they don't even show those anymore.
Now, our local channels, whenever my cat wakes me up early in the morning, I start flipping the channels, and it's called Me TV. And like, gosh, 7 o'clock in the morning, it's like Popeye and Pink Panther Hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's Tom and Jerry and Droopy. And then it's Looney Tunes. Nothing but Looney Tunes.
That's another great group of great cartoons was Looney Tunes.
Tweety, Sylvester,
Tweety and
Daffy,
Sylvester,
Donald,
Daffy, yeah.
Daffy and Bugs. And
Bugs, yeah. Daffy, Bugs, Yosemite Sam,
Porky Pig,
Elmer
Fudd,
yeah. So that, you know, those cartoons they were great. They were awesome. We need more cartoons like that for kids to watch now. You know, I mean, it's good for them to have this educational outlet to where they can learn. There's nothing wrong with that, but you got to have cartoons also to help build their imagination.
Yeah, I know they got Sesame Street. They still have Sesame Street.
Yeah, they still have Sesame
Street. Which is
Street,
good.
which is great.
Sesame
yeah.
Street is good.
But they got to have cartoons to have fun with. Otherwise, education gets boring after a while, and they don't want to listen. They don't want to watch it. Yeah, that's just the way it would seem to me. I mean, but you know, it is what it is. The '80s are dying out. We're a dying breed.
We're the last generation, folks. Yes, sir.
But that was kind of a quick video. Just wanted to shoot something out with some cartoons, some of our favorite cartoons. You know.
So I say this, okay? What we need to do is wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Get your cats to wake you up at 7 o'clock in the morning. If you have a cat, if you have a dog, get your dog to wake you up. Get up, get you a bowl of Fruit Loops or some Cocoa Pebbles or whatever. If you want your brand, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sit there and watch your Pink Panther and your Popeye and your Looney Tunes. And I remember watching Three Stooges. Three Stooges would come on for like 2.5 hours. I'm a sucker for Three Stooges and Little Rascals. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And they even had, I was telling him, they even had the robotic Stooges.
I don't remember now.
And they were robots, but they were superheroes, and they were Three Stooges. If you remember that cartoon, leave a comment down in the comment section that you remember that cartoon, because I remember that cartoon was great. Three Stooges were awesome anyways, but then when they come out with that robotic Stooges cartoon, it was just great. It was a lot of fun.
Three Stooges are my heroes.
Three Stooges, Little Rascals, great. Great stuff. Great stuff.
Great comedy. That's where comedy come from, was from the Stooges. Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss the Stooges. Well, I can't miss the Stooges because I got all of it on DVD.
And you even gave me some, so thank you.
Huh?
I said you even gave me some of them, so
yeah, because I had like doubles of them and stuff. So.
So great. Yeah, I got some Stooges, man. All right. But, you know, that was some of the cartoons we grew up with in the 80s. I'm going to try to get with my son, and we're going to do, me and him will probably end up doing a video on some of the 90s cartoons and 2000s that he likes to watch and stuff like that. Some of them I've seen, some of them I may not have seen. He watches a lot of different stuff than what I'm accustomed to. But, you know, I'm not going to knock it.
Well, here's a spoiler alert, okay? Around in the early 90s, I quit watching cartoons. I quit watching cartoons at all. Because I was going out early in the morning, you know, just doing things.
Yeah.
You know, I just kind of grew out of cartoons there at the time, so.
Yeah. But
you know, if a 90s cartoon, I do admit that I did watch the Spider-Man cartoon back in the 90s.
Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s was a great cartoon.
And that's when I started collecting comic books and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah.
I was always out buying comic books or sports cards.
or something like that for your collection.
Yep.
So yeah, but me and my son are going to get in and try to talk about some of the cartoons in the later years that he's watched, and I've probably watched some of them because hey, I'm getting ready to turn 51 years old, and I still love to watch cartoons. Still love to watch cartoons. My son was over here today. We were watching Batman Beyond. I mean, sometimes there's just nothing on TV, so we just watch cartoons. You know.
I like
Or
the
play
old
games,
school cartoons, but just the Looney Tunes. Give me the Looney Tunes.
The Looney
man.
Tunes, yeah, Looney Tunes.
Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry.
What was it? Looney Tune Adventures was later on
Yeah.
in the 90s or whatever. Then you had the Animaniacs, but we'll get into all that later on. We'll get into that with me and my son. But anyways, just wanted to make this real quick video, you know, kind of put something out, something different. Now, we did watch, I did get some info on the next video for a wrestling video. We're going to do Monday, and then we won't do one Monday. We'll watch Monday Night Raw Monday, and then probably try to do a video either Tuesday or Wednesday about the draft and all that stuff. Because I've already got my schedule and it's kind of conflicting a little bit, but we'll work something out and get that video out there for talking about the draft and all that stuff. So until we get that video set up and get it put out, I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell so you get the notifications for the new videos when they come out. Thanks everybody for commenting. Thank everybody for watching. The views have kind of dropped off a little bit, but they're starting to pick up some more. So hopefully, you know, we're going in the right direction. Thank you for supporting the channel. Help get the channel out there. Let's make it, you know, something, turn into something that we want it to be. All right. And we thank you for watching and hope you enjoy your evening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.